Hello, and you are very welcome to the final day of World Skills Ireland 2023, and I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this show as much as we've had fun putting it together and bringing you the entire venue, the events that's been happening. And you know what, you would not be watching us without the beautiful team that's been behind the scenes, behind the cameras in our gorgeous studio. Over here we have the ever young Theo O'Grady, who's been putting together some of the vision mixing and guiding the team so wonderfully. We've got Darian on the sound there as well. We have Ed, who's behind the camera, always good for a nice close-up and getting my good side. And then we have Cian over there. We're not sure what Cian does, but he does it very, very well. He puts all the show together after we filmed it. And of course we have Clint as well, who's been guiding our team as well. So I'm going to take you now over to one of our very busy neighbours, the ESB Networks, who've been constantly having visitors and guests and future apprentices as well. And we are joined by our lovely neighbour. I'm so sorry, I'm going to chat with her just for a second. So Anne, lovely to meet you. How are you?
How are you? You well?
I'm doing very good. Now, it's great to chat with you because we have seen how busy you've been over the last few days.
Absolutely.
Great success?
Absolutely wonderful success, yeah. It's fantastic to see so many students, teachers, parents, everybody coming along to see such a showcase on apprenticeship particularly. It's brilliant, yeah, it's brilliant.
And tell me about the apprenticeship, because it's a bit different in the sense that once you apply for this, it is going to be done within your community.
Absolutely, yeah. So the majority of apprenticeships, it is a full-time job. That's what apprenticeship is about. But you do, every apprenticeship leads to a qualification. So sixth-year students, any student thinking of their career path, their future career path, what they're going to do, there's an apprenticeship in so many routes, in so many areas now, that you can absolutely start your career with an apprenticeship now rather than going directly into college possibly, you know. So, and that means you're going to be working in your community, that means you're going to be working in the areas that you come from, and you could be doing your college remotely. So it does keep people based in their own area, in their communities and all of that, yeah.
Which is brilliant, because a lot of jobs or college courses you would have to move to a city, or you know, and you even mentioned remote learning there. So, and also you're learning but earning as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So I suppose from our perspective, from ESB Networks perspective, we would ensure that all of our apprentices are based in the area as close to their home address as possible, because what we find is that they then become attached to their community more. They then go on call, they become integral parts of their community and providing electricity and all of that for their communities. But it means also that people don't have to start looking at coming maybe to the major cities and looking for accommodation and all that goes with that, and particularly at the moment it is difficult enough to get accommodation when you're living in those areas without maybe coming from more rural areas into the urban hubs, you know.
Brilliant. And so I asked you about the success of these few days.
Yes.
ESB, it's been at the heart of Ireland, each community, and electricity, it's not going anywhere.
No,
so
certainly not.
No matter what the advances are in technology, this is an apprenticeship that's going to lead to a secure job and a secure industry as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, secure industry, and we are really working hard. We're ESB are committed to net zero by 2040, so we are going to have a huge impact on the whole climate action plan, the climate change issues over the next 20, 30, 40 years. So if you really are interested in having an impact on, you know, climate and everything that's happening there, ESB is certainly the place to come look for employment.
Brilliant. And there is also a wheel that you get to spin.
Absolutely.
And you could win something, a water bottle, a stress ball, what else?
Absolutely. There's pens, there's lots of different things there on that to spin the wheel piece. Yeah.
They have surplus stress balls because nobody who works for the ESB is ever stressed, isn't that right?
Ever stressed, no.
There you go. Now, we got up with somebody else who was very not stressed at all because they're having a great time here in the RDS in Simmons Court. Now our next guest joins us in studio here at the RDS Simmons Court in Dublin, and that is the CEO of Crown Paints. Clark, thank you very much for joining us. I'm looking at your product pretty much every day in my house, so thank you for coating the walls.
Another happy customer. Delighted to be here again.
Tell me about this, the long-running tradition and connection between Crown Paints and World Skills.
So, Crown Paints have been associated with World Skills. We're trying to date back roughly about 50 years, which is from the very start of the heritage of World Skills. certainly whenever it comes along every single year, it's one of the key events that we make sure that it's in our diary, we get involved in. And you know, we talked about earlier on in terms of the energy that was around the place. It's great to see the next generation taking an interest in all the labour and skills that are out there. So
yeah, and you mentioned marking the date in the calendar or the
Yep.
diary. You were in the UK and made sure that you took the flight here to be
Yeah.
here today.
Yes.
And you're happy to do so because, as you mentioned, the energy here, I mean, it's one of those events that reminds you of the impact that your business has.
Absolutely, and even chatting to a few of the younger ones around the stand, etc., and seeing the competitors and the skill set that they have in terms of the demonstration that they're pulling together now. It's actually quite humbling, but it does gives me an awful lot of energy as well, because this is the next generation of contractors that are going to be coming in to building the new Ireland as it is, and certainly from a career opportunity wise, it is a great career to get involved in, and obviously from us, it's a lifeblood for our business as well. So we need to make sure we can do everything we possibly can to nurture that interest and help populate the next generation of contractors that are coming into the business.
Yeah. And it's interesting because a lot of our conversations this week have been about the advances in technology
Yes.
and the new avenues and new aspects of every single industry that there are. But in the end, it does tend to come back down to the basics, and in particular in your industry of painting and decorating.
Yes.
And with the housing crisis and people renovating homes, painters, decorators, I think they're more in demand now than they ever have been before.
Absolutely, and they're the building blocks for the future. And certainly, I know from our position, what we tend to find in terms of the age profile of contractors as it is now, it is essential that we have that seed sown in people's mind that this is a fantastic career to get involved in. And I know an awful lot of contractors that are looking to bring on apprenticeships for the future, etc. You know, we need this as a country to make sure that we can develop even further. So it is a great opportunity for people to come around and see exactly what is there. Yes, technology has moved on from whenever we began 50 years ago in terms of the products, even the sundries that we use to apply onto the walls. So, and it's great to see people evolve in terms of what is required for the particular job, and us to give them a little bit of that knowledge as well back to them.
Yeah,
So-
and you mentioned the impact of new technologies. You still can't buy cheap paint because it will not do the job of a good paint. It just can't be done. I
No.
know from experience.
Yeah.
I am the painter decorator a
Yeah.
lot of the time, and always need to get that good paint. But I was looking at the competition stand,
Yes.
the painting, decorating. I mean, there is a pure knack and there's a skill to every single stroke of the brush, isn't there?
Oh, I was just commenting to one of my colleagues that I was watching one of the competitors, and they're just given one tin of green paint, for example, but yet they're having to shade everything in, which means that they have to proportion in the white to make it shade down a little bit, to get different shades of green, and it looks absolutely superb. So for a young person to go ahead and do that and have the skill set, it's not just about cutting in, it's understanding the product, understanding what preparation is required, what tools are required for it, etc. And I have to say I'm very impressed in terms of the skill set that is actually there. So yes, buy the right product to make sure that you get the results that you want.
And also make sure you hire a professional painter, decorator. And if you would like to see the example of why you don't do that, is visit my house because the paint is lovely, but the finish, the application, questionable at times. Clark, it's been a pleasure talking
Yes,
to you.
thank you very
so
much for your time.
And I look forward to being a continuing customer of yours. But for the time being, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks a million. Now we are going to go back into the field and let's see where else we were earlier today in the RDS Simmons Court in Dublin. Now here we are in, I believe, what is the nicest smelling exhibition but also competition that's happening at the moment, because we are in the middle of the carpentry section. And I mentioned to you what a lovely smell it is, that kind of piney scent.
Beautiful smell, yeah.
As
the
a
resins.
carpenter, you no longer get that smell, do you?
No, we become a bit immune to it, I guess. But no, definitely the first thing that most people say coming in is the smell of the wood, and they're drawn into it. We're in a fantastic position here in the RDS. and we've so much interest from the youngsters coming in and seeing what's involved in the carpentry competition and carpentry as a career as well. So it's it really draws everybody in.
So this is the competition. So
Yep.
what are they trying to make here?
So the carpentry competition, we're here on day 3 now, so this is the latter end of the competition. So the carpentry competition is really drawing on their skills and being able to complete the geometry first of all, so take all the details from the drawings we provide them and then draw them out in full scale on the boards below. So the first day is really just about geometry. Then the second day is where we really see them going in and starting to build the structure itself. So the main part of the roof structure here is the walls and effectively the wall plates that hold the rest of the roof rafters. And now we're on to day 3, which is the completion of the rest of the part. So now it'll start looking more like a roof, or a traditional roof, I suppose, and the different details and the valleys and those sections in between and how they come together. So at this point is where we see the big change and it starts to look like something. The first day or 2, it can be a little bit slow. But yeah, it's really getting to the interesting part now.
Yeah, and I guess that's the process of carpentry on the site, really, in real life, let's say.
It is in such. Here it's a little bit more detailed, but you wouldn't on site go to the same level of geometry and detailing as we do here and drawing them out full scale. So the competition is a slight bit more advanced in that regards, and in line with what the international competitions are looking for as well. So slightly different in that respect. A good site carpenter would also need a lot of the geometry and that experience as well to excel in this competition. So the geometry is the big part that we find a lot of apprentices and students need work in developing that. So we try and give them guidance and as much equipment as possible to put them in the best position coming forward in these competitions.
Okay, well, you mentioned how the scent of pine in the air draws the students in the second they come in the door.
Absolutely.
And also World Skills, this event, it really does work in terms of getting those apprenticeships and putting that idea, that thought in people's mind that maybe this is the industry for them. One of your competitors was actually a student here a few years ago.
Absolutely, back in 2019 I believe he was here as one of the students on a TY trip, and now 2023 he's here as a competitor in the final. So it just goes to show an event like this works. It promotes the skills, promotes the industries and gives them different career path options that they have to get into these areas.
And we are here again in our lovely studio in the RDS Simmons Court in Dublin, and we are joined by our next guest. Now I must say a big thank you to you, Donal, because today, this being a big presenting job here in the RDS in Dublin, somebody just this morning was starstruck and they said, "Oh, is that Donal Skehan?" And then they realised it wasn't Donal Skehan.
Right,
So that was the one moment.
Oh, they thought it was you?
Well, they thought that I was Donal Skehan.
Oh, no way.
For about 2
Just
seconds.
younger and more fresh-faced and less grey.
Well, you're saying that. You're the guest. I can't be
Yeah,
agreeing.
yeah.
But that was the one moment of stardom I felt. But
Okay,
you
okay.
are, of course, special guest here today. You're
Yeah.
on the Heroes stage. So tell us what you've been doing here.
So we're here in the RDS in Simmons Court, part of the World Skill, this fantastic event that brings 30,000 people here, and all people who are looking to upskill, to look at what they're potentially going to do in life. And hopefully we're here to inspire and excite them and maybe attract them to a fantastic career ahead of them.
Yeah, and well, what we've been learning over these few days is that, you know, there's the academic side of the world, and then there's the hands-on and learning skills and good with their hands and everything. And this is exactly what World Skills is all about. It's obviously the balance of learning in the school or the classroom environment and then in the workplace. So what kind of a student were you? Were you one of these people who thrived on a hands-on sort of a thing, or books, or what?
Absolutely, you've hit the nail on the head. I was absolutely hands-on, and I think the idea because I dropped out of college, that was my thing, because I was never, an academic. I was much more, I loved art, I loved home ec, I loved those elements where you had a physical task to get through. And, the interesting thing is I think a lot of people are, we're all points driven and we're all kind of, it has to be a certain way. But actually, as life unfolds and once you get past that sort of like 18 to 20 mode, you realize that you can really do whatever you want. And, if you set your mind to it, there really is many opportunities out there. It's finding the passion, really hooking into it and coming back to it and being consistent with it. But I mean, that's why something like this is fantastic, because you're seeing, you know, firsthand what a working kitchen looks like. Firsthand, you're seeing welding, you're seeing all sorts of skills that are really playing out in front of your eyes. So I think had I come to something like this, I probably would have got to where I was going, maybe just that little bit quicker. But I loved that growing up. You know, food was always a major passion for me, and that's how I've ended up working in the world of food through cookbooks and through food writing and photography. But I think those are things that I could never have said to you at 19, 18, that was going to be what I was going to end up doing. So oftentimes I think there's this sort of, you know, wilderness that we end up kind of facing into after school. So having that kind of opportunity to see something that potentially attracts you and potentially makes you, you know, find your passion, it's a really exciting thing, and it's a really important thing at this stage.
Yeah, and I know that you have young children yourself, and it's a long way away, but it will come a time that they will be heading into secondary school and then college further down the line. So seeing the current Ireland now and the way we look at education and how we're looking towards the future, I mean, as a parent, you must be kind of excited by that, saying that, right, well, when I was, you know, heading into that part of my life, not really a lot of open doors, or at least it didn't seem that way, whereas looking towards the future, it's pretty exciting to know that pretty much everything is out there and you can find it right here in Ireland as well.
Yeah, well, I think that's the great thing about Ireland, is that we really celebrate craftsmen. We celebrate people who are passionate about what they do. I mean, I see it in food producers. You know, there might not be a huge payoff at the end of the day, but you have something that any food producer I speak to, they are incredibly passionate about what they do, and that's something that gets them out of bed in the morning, that forces them to kind of innovate, it forces them to kind of get excited about what they do. And so, you know, that goes across many different fields, and I think Ireland in particular is particularly, you know, a great place that does celebrate that. So I think, you know, looking at my own children and looking what they might do, I think it's a lovely place to kind of get your feet wet and, you know, absolutely find that thing that you're passionate about. But I think, you know, that's the one thing I would encourage them to do at that stage, is that really look at the thing that attracts you to it, and then ultimately to get a little bit of work experience, to, you know, go out into the field and experience it, because in lots of ways you'll very quickly understand if this is something for you or something that's not. I worked in a restaurant in my very early stages in Sweden, and I was like, no, this is not for me. I do not want this life. I want to be able to work with food in a very different way, and that's how I ended up on the path. But maybe I wouldn't have had I not experienced what, you know, a working kitchen was like. So if, you know, the advice I would always give is come and see, you know, what's happening, come and see how it unfolds and what the reality of a job or your prospective career might look like.
Yeah, and all of the different disciplines and different career opportunities here, while they might be working with your hands, they can actually take you around the world. I mean, you're mentioning there your culinary skills, you can pretty much apply that Sweden, wherever else you want to go around the world. But the same applies for any of these jobs. You're looking at ESB, you're looking at any of the construction trades, you can bring that and head off wherever as well.
Absolutely. And having the freedom to kind of know that we are in a place in the world where you can travel, you can experience, and you can come home. Like a lot of the, you know, people I've come across have traveled, brought back ideas and innovated as a result of that. So, you know, keeping your options open, I think, is a really important thing, and know that, you know, you might go to Australia, or you might go to Sweden, or you might go or stay at home and find and work with people who are incredibly inspiring, and then see how that applies to your own career path. I think that's really important.
Well, look, thank you so much for giving me that 5 seconds of fame earlier today. It was mistaken identity, but I will still cling on to it.
I will take it.
I was Donal for 5 seconds. It felt fantastic. I'll still try and gel the hairs similar. But Donal, thank you so much for joining us here at the Heroes stage, and among a load of other brilliant talkers as well, today and tomorrow as well. So make sure you check that out if you're coming here to the Simmons Court RDS in Dublin. Eric,
Brendan.
It's final day, it's day 3, and we can obviously see the progress that's being made.
Yeah.
How happy are you with these few days here at World Skills Ireland?
Well, I'm delighted. Our competition has gone exceptionally well. Our 4 competitors here are managing this really well. This is a lot about time management and attention to detail, and you'll see from the project, you have to get a sequence of events going from the very beginning to the very end in order to get that project finished. And they've all planned it, executed it, and what we're going to see today when they finish is that really fine attention to detail that's going to make this project really pop when it's done. So when the project is completely finished, you're going to see how the colours all interact with each other, and you're going to see a really, really fine project. But being here in the RDS, absolutely superb, loving it, seeing all the public going by, all the attention is getting, it's a real showcase for apprenticeship and a showcase for what we do as painters and decorators. So absolutely delighted with it.
Yeah, well, I spoke with the CEO of Crown Paints, who are obviously sponsoring the competition, and I am the go-to painter, stroke decorator, but I really am not a professional. And this is where you see why you need to get the professionals.
Yeah.
The preparation, the attention to detail,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the quality of work that's done there. And I've tried wallpapering, gave up on the pattern on day 2. It was lockdown. We had no visitors. But
Who's going to know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this, and it is, as you mentioned, the attention to detail.
Yeah, and as you say, the Crown sponsorship here, it's invaluable. It's so important for us that we link in with industry in such a strong way. They're here supporting us every day. They're showcasing what professional painting and decorating can do. We're using all their products, absolutely superb. And the man you interviewed yesterday, he is just so passionate about what it is that they do as a company for the industry as well. So yeah, all good and all going great.
Yeah, and they've been a partner of World Skills Event since the very beginning as well, and they're very passionate about the next generation, the new painters and decorators of today and tomorrow. And I'm guessing that you share that same passion.
Absolutely. They've been here, we think it's about 50 years they've been sponsoring this, and that shows you their dedication to what it is that we do. We who work in the paint and decorating section in TU Dublin, we're very passionate about instilling the core values. It's not just the skills. We do a lot of work with the public. We're a lot of dealing with people on a day-to-day basis. And it's really important that we teach them those values of respect, the ethics of what we do, how to interact with people in a professional manner, presenting themselves. All of those aspects are also part of what we do, as well as these core skills that we're seeing here. And a bit of papering.
Yeah, exactly. And earlier I was speaking with someone from ESB. I mentioned how electricity isn't going anywhere, so it's a great, secure industry to be taking up an apprenticeship with.
Yeah.
And same goes for paint, wallpaper.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
going anywhere, and you need somebody to put
Yeah.
it up
Yeah.
and do it right. So,
Yeah,
I mean, it is a secure career.
It really is. If you think of the effect that colour has in your everyday world, any building you walk into, the colour has an impact on you. Straight away, it's going to hit you. So what we do, as well as maintaining the built environment around us, is we beautify it, we make it aesthetically pleasing. That is part of what we do. There are very few painters who are ever out of work. And a large majority of our tradespeople end up working for themselves, and we'll have 1 or 2 people working for them. And if you're that quality professional, you're not going to be out of work. And it's a great career for me. This has been such a good career, and I think it can be that for anyone who goes into it.
Our next guest in studio is joining us from the MSL ETB, that is the Mayo Sligo Leitrim ETB. Sean, how are you?
Brendan, lovely to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Now, you're not an ATM, but you are at the same time. Area Training Manager.
Area training manager for the 3 counties of Mayo, Sligo and Leitrim.
So I can't get any money out of you.
Absolutely no. The bank is empty.
So tell me that you're very excited to be here at this brilliant venue, a brilliant few days of people finding out what could be their first career, next opportunity in life. And you're part of the FET, so Further Education and Training.
Yes.
And you're really excited about the entire brand and its awareness throughout Ireland.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, World Skills first and foremost is a showcase for apprenticeship. And Further Education and Training, of course, is strongly represented in that sector, because all of the apprenticeships for the construction industry, for instance, carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and some of the engineering ones, the FET sector deliver all of the phase 2 parts of that training in our training centres. Also, every apprentice in Ireland is registered through Further Education and Training, even though it doesn't matter if they're participating in Further Education and Training or Higher Education and Training. The FET sector are the people who are responsible for the administration and management of the apprentices through that journey, be it 2 years or 4 years. And of course, there's over 70 different varieties of apprenticeship now. So I think this is a showcase for apprenticeship. It's just tremendous. And the fact that double the numbers are going through the RDS today, I think it's just testament to the work that's been done by WorldSkills and indeed the FET sector, the National Apprenticeship Office, and everybody associated with apprenticeship. We're really promoting it, we're promoting the brand, and there's a huge awareness about apprenticeship now in the country. And of course supported by Minister Simon Harris, who's an advocate for apprenticeship in all of its forms. So I think it truly shows that there are alternatives to higher education. Higher education has played a huge and influential role in Ireland in terms of our economic well-being and our status and where we're at. But I think there are options, and people should always consider the other options, because higher education is not for everybody.
Yeah, and looking at this entire venue again,
Yes.
it's quite the eye-catching array of things. I can finally blame someone for my glittery suit today.
Absolutely,
It was
one of
all
my
your
team.
idea.
Yeah.
We caught up with Sheila earlier,
Yes.
and I helped to decorate. It was a disaster, and then I got covered in glitter for it, so thanks a million for that. But really eye-catching display, and again, sparking the imagination and grabbing the attention of these potential future students of yours.
Yeah, absolutely, and I suppose we have to recognise that our sector, the further education and training sector, has struggled somewhat with an identity crisis, so to speak, because we're 16 independent education and training boards, so there are 16 ETBs across the country. As you mentioned, I'm from the Mayo Sligo Regional Education Training Board, and then my colleagues around the country in different ETBs, we all promote what we do, and we promote it very well, and what we do well. But as an entity or as a sector, you know, sometimes it's difficult. If you ask people in the street, well, what is further education and training? You know, sometimes there's not a realisation of what that is. So I mean, annually, 225,000 people go through further education and training, which is the same amount as goes through higher education. So it's a huge education and training, I suppose, provision throughout the country. But one of the things about the WorldSkills, what we've done is we've tried to sort of focus in on the sector rather than on the individual ETBs. So the theme this year we've gone with is This is FET. So all of the further education and training stands this year are branded This is FET rather than individual ETBs. Now the individual ETBs are represented in one section in a static area, but all of the other ones are interactive, and that's what we wanted. We wanted things to be interactive. So you used a great example. It's a hospitality and catering stand, but we're focusing in on cake decoration. And my team from MSL ETB, that's Sheila, Rory and Eileen, you met them. They actually constructed that WorldSkills cake that you might have seen.
Yeah.
Beautiful centerpiece, specifically for this event. But it was to catch the eye, to bring people to the stand, to make it attractive. And then they're doing demonstrations periodically for cake decorating, and then visitors are invited to have a go. So obviously you fell victim to the glitter, and that's what we're trying to do. But it's a bit of fun. But what it does is, you know, on the panel, the information panel, it lists all of the programs that are available across the sector. And then the QR code is This is FET, and that QR code brings the visitors to the national site that shows all programs that FET deliver across the country. So it is to get that idea across that we are one sector, we deliver all of these programs, albeit that we deliver it in 16 different ETBs. And then the same is true of the Try the Sausage. It's exactly the same concept. People can have a go at making a sausage and then get to taste them afterwards, which is great. And then everything else is interactive. You've seen a lot of VR, you know, a lot of creative digital media, a lot of our green skills, our NZEB, our retrofitting, hugely important for the climate action plan and, you know, the housing for all strategies. So everything we do here is really important to the ecosystem that is education and training in Ireland. And I think we put FET on the map here, and we intend to grow that over the years. 30,000 people this year, I think we can get bigger numbers next year.
I think you're absolutely right. We might have to add an extra day or two. So you put FET on the map, glitter on my suit.
Yeah.
I guess they cancel each other out. Sean Burke, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
Of the
Thank you.
NSL ETB, and of course you mentioned there everything happening at the stalls. Let's catch up with another one that we met earlier today. Lovely to meet you, and it's nice to be here at long last, because I've been watching this stand over the past couple of days, and to see the stones evolve, it is a thing of beauty, isn't it? And you must be really passionate about this industry.
Yes, I am passionate about it, and as you say, it is great to see these stones evolved over the last few days. I mean, I think it's a testament to the competitive skill and dedication to their craft.
And the craft level, I mean, to the untrained eye, for me, the passers-by here, you would think that that was done by a master craftsperson, but these are apprentices, right?
They are mostly. There's one person here who is recently qualified, so but they are apprentices. Some of them are phase 2, there's 2 phase 4, and there's a guy who's completed his apprenticeship.
Brilliant, and that speaks to the success of the apprenticeship program. You mentioned that one is recently qualified.
Yes.
So again, that must be lovely for you as somebody who would be mentoring these people to see them evolve throughout the phases of the apprenticeship and then go on and get work in the field.
Yes, I mean, ultimately the key thing is that they're viable in the workplace. I mean, that's the whole point of it in a way. But not, well, that's one part of it. It's also important that a sense of craftsmanship and pride in their work is instilled in them, and I think it is true. Just to have a look around here, I think it's obvious that it is.
Yeah, it certainly is. So this is the competition, right?
Yes.
So explain to us what they are trying to show and display in order to win this competition.
Yes. Well, it is a competition, but it started out as a group project. The earlier stages of this piece here, they actually work together on as a group, and it's the archstones that they're working on at the moment. So that's the actual competition. So in a way, I see it as a two-part thing: a group project and a competition. Yeah.
Okay, and this will all come together and be a beautiful finished piece as well. Is that a very important element of being a stonemason, is working in conjunction with others on a project?
It's an essential thing. I mean, it's if craftspeople can't work together, collaborate and share ideas and information, that there's no real future in it. It becomes stagnant. So an important part of the training program is to encourage collaboration, and I think one of the things about the craft of stone cutting is that there's great connections. I mean, there's a great network. It'd be very unusual for one stone cutter in the country not to know another one, no matter what part of the country it is. And that's true internationally as well. I mean, it's a very interconnected craft, and I think more so than a lot of other crafts.
Yeah, I suppose it's because it's so highly specialised, and that maybe there isn't so many of them that you would know each other's work and everything like
Yes.
that. It's great to see the next generation here, and that the industry, it seems to be like it's in a good spot in Ireland, and that's a lot with thanks to the course that is in Kerry College. So give us an idea and a sense of what is on offer there and in situ in Kerry College in order for this
Well,
course
just
happen.
to retrace your earlier observation, I think that the craft of stonework in Ireland is, I think it's at a higher point than I have experienced, say, in decades. Like when I started out in the late 70s, early 80s, I think there's a lot of negativity about the craft, that it was lost, it had nowhere to go. But in recent years, I would call it a renaissance in stonework in Ireland. And part of the reason for that is that there's, let me see what word I would use, there's more interconnection between different aspects of stoneworking. So it's not just stone cutting, but it's also stone wall construction and conservation. The interest in conservation and the recognition of the importance of it has been has given a great injection of, has gone there now.
A new vitality.
A new vitality, and credit must go to the Office of Public Works for their interest and promotion of the apprenticeship program. The program itself has been run in Kerry College for since, in one shape or form, since the early 90s, and Kerry College have been very supportive of stoneworking.
Yeah, and looking at Ireland in terms of the global
Yeah.
the global scale of stonemasonry, would Ireland be seen as one of the world leaders? Because I'm thinking of Ogham stones and ancient carvings that there might be that ancient tradition here.
Well, there is a recognition of the long tradition of stoneworking in Ireland. You know. Last week I was on an Ishir at Phelan Luck, and people from all over the world come to that every year to experience the craft of dry stone wall construction, stone carving and lettering. And it has become a kind of a mecca for people to come together and share ideas. And one of the great things about it is that it's an interaction between professionals, enthusiasts, you know, and just people who have a love of the stone-built environment.
Yeah, and also reconnects you to the land as well, which is
Yes,
what people
yeah.
are searching for all the
Yeah.
time in the busy world of phones and iPads and all the rest.
Yeah.
They want to feel that
Yeah.
reconnection to the land.
And it's a very poor phone signal out there, so we have to talk to each other.
And we're back in studio, and we have another guest joining us from Bus Éireann. It's the CEO of Bus Éireann, and that is Stephen Kent. How are you?
Very good, thanks very much. Great to be here.
It certainly is. And well, what do you make of the event? Because I, for one, can't get over the atmosphere and the amount of people who are just having that opportunity of choosing that career path ahead of them. And of course, Bus Éireann is one of those.
It's tremendous, and I've just come in and I've seen outside, you know, the place is packed with coaches. People come from all parts of the country.
You
And
would spot the coaches,
I spot
all
the
right.
coaches, and there's plenty of them there. And the other thing I'm really pleased to hear, even coming through the door and visiting our stand, 53% of them female, which
Yeah.
in terms of coming into apprenticeships is fantastic to see as well. And that's something, of course, that we're looking to cultivate within our own company as well.
Of course, and that's the shift in mindset. That's a brilliant thing about this new Ireland, this modern Ireland, and as we go forward. And of course, speaking of shift in mindset, there's shift in technology and advances and everything. Bus Éireann recently announced, and actually it is in action, the first EV
Bus network.
bus network
In
in
Ireland.
Athlone. So
In
explain
Athlone.
to me a bit more about that.
It went in, it's a huge collaboration between a whole load of players that have to come together. And obviously with the move to decarbonisation and everybody wanting to reduce emissions before 2030, this was the first project. It was called a Pathfinder project. And we did that, so it's very, very interesting inside in the garage when we went into the Athlone, because I had to address and meet a number of mechanics. And for them, it's an exciting challenge because we've been over 100 years dealing with the internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
And now we're moving into the world of electric vehicles and hydrogen and alternative fuels like that. So embracing and understanding what is going to be part of our new future, that's a really, really big opportunity for us. So
Yeah.
I'm delighted we got Athlone first over the line in January.
Yeah, and there'll be more to come as well, so people be staying tuned and hearing about those updates in the future. But the apprentices who are going to be jumping on board, let's say they could be signing up within the near future now, they'll be ready to rock in 4 years' time with Bus Éireann. So
Yeah.
they will be the new breed of mechanic or technicians, I guess, that'll be working with this new electric vehicle as part of Bus Éireann.
Exactly, you know, and so a lot of people are getting involved in a business like this because we've got a huge network across Ireland. We're across 17 depots. So we're able to offer, a huge amount of regionality depending on where people, and we can also facilitate movement across the country. You know, there's over 400 mechanics across our business, which is fantastic and growing. But more importantly, we're growing into the future. So if I look into the next 5 years, there's huge expansion. So when an apprentice is coming in, not only are they going to deliver great skills in a great company that actually we're continuing to improve all the conditions and move, as you say, into EV transition. But there's a career there for people as well because of the growth and because of the commitment Ireland is making to public transport growth. So that's a very exciting thing to be able to offer at these times as well.
Yeah, it certainly is. And just looking at, obviously, the change and everything, you're here as part of one of the main sponsors of the event as well.
Yeah.
How important is it that Bus Éireann provides the support of WorldSkills Ireland?
We're extremely proud to be involved. We've been involved before, and you know, this is particularly a project that's not only talking to all the youth in Ireland, and we're trying to bring them in, but are really tapping into the skills and the new future we want. So I love the fact that this is a platform for opportunity. Obviously, it's an engagement and it's a huge information forum. So for people who are making choices in their life, I think this is an ideal spot where you can come along, find it all under one roof, help you make your decisions and meet the companies face to face and the people who work for our companies. So you can meet them and discover at first hand what it would be like. So I'm so proud to be part of it, and I'm delighted we'll be doing so for the future.
Well, it's been a pleasure altogether. Stephen Kent, CEO of Bus Éireann. Do you have a bus to catch?
I have a bus to catch always. Thanks
All
very
right,
much.
if you miss one, there'll be one on the way shortly. Thank you very much to Stephen Kent there of Bus Éireann joining us here in the studio. Let's catch up with somewhere else that we were earlier today. Marion of the Admissions Office of Kerry College, very nice to meet you here. How have these few days been?
Very busy, Brendan, very busy now. This is my second year coming here. The numbers have increased, they've doubled. I think we've had 30,000 people come through the last couple of days. So it's great, it's very exciting, and it's a privilege to be here. And especially too, we're down in the This Is FET section, and we're with our colleagues from other ETBs. So it's great just to see what everyone does. Yeah. So we have 5 campuses. We've got 3 in Tralee, 1 in Clash, Mona Valley, and in Denny Street. And then we have a campus in Killorglin, which specialises in outdoor education and training. And we have a campus in Listone, County Kerry. So we're after opening our second admissions office too in Kerry and Killarney. So that's great. It's in High Street. And then of course the admissions office too is in Tralee. Yeah, 7 Denny Street. So it's great for people to come in, have a chat with the admissions officers, you know, apply for the courses, even though you can do it all online. But sometimes, you know, if you need any advice, you can come in and have a chat to us in Tralee or Killarney and apply for the courses through our website or through Fetch. And it's great too, a lot of our courses are available through the CAO as well, which is excellent. Yeah, it's
Brilliant.
very good.
So, and it makes it really approachable as well
yeah,
to have those open door offices that people can walk into, rather than depending on the online and the website alone. You have somebody there who can guide you through the process.
Oh yeah, and if anyone's ever having any issues applying for courses online, they can come in and sit down in the hub, and we can help them apply for the courses online. Yeah, so it's great. Yeah, it's great to have a presence in Killarney and in Tralee, but also they can pick up the phone and ring us anytime. Yeah.
And of course it's Kerry College, so all the courses run in Kerry through the 5 campuses across the county. We're up here in Dublin, so what's the feedback been like from the students?
Very good, so it is. And while we are in Dublin, like, we do run a good few courses that are actually unique to Kerry. So we do scuba diving, we've launched this year the content development for film and television, which is great. And then we've got the emergency care course as well. And then we have civils for fibre installation and overhead lines. Yeah, so we have, you know, a good few courses. And of course then we've got our wind turbine apprenticeship, which has drawn a huge crowd here today, or for the last couple of days. Yeah, so it's excellent.
Welcome back to the studio here at Simmons Court RDS, and it is of course World Skills Ireland 2023. We're now joined by someone who's going to tell us something a little bit different than what we've been talking about. We've been talking about skills that can lead on to a career in particular, but this is a skill that you can actually apply to everyday life. So Aoife Long, you're very welcome.
Absolutely, thank you so much. So my name is Aoife Long and I'm with a project called Cyber Futures. And it's funded by Science Foundation Ireland, and the reason we need it, there's a massive shortage in people who are skilled in cybersecurity in Ireland and internationally. So we need 10,000 people more in the industry by 2030. So there's a huge range of skills involved in cybersecurity, and I suppose the common denominator is that it applies to your personal life and it will apply to whatever job you end up working in. It's going to be part of your job, kind of whether you like it or not, really.
Yeah, and so true, because I mean, obviously, you just think about this morning what you did. You might have checked your phone, you might have had to reject cookies or whatever.
Yep.
Could have done that 10 times today, whatever, on a daily basis. You do these things without even noticing now. But as you say, it feeds into the personal life.
Absolutely.
That's what I was focusing on. But as you mentioned there, 10,000 people by the year 2030. That's only
Yeah.
7 years away, actually
Exactly.
6 and a
so
bit.
it's a big challenge.
And that will be an industry that will be weaved into every job space, I'm imagining.
Every company needs cybersecurity. So if you think in the past, if criminals were breaking into a company, they break into the building, they might be stealing stuff, they might be stealing bank account details to break into their bank accounts. That's all happening in the digital space now. Companies are using computers for everything. They're using their phones for everything. They're using the internet for everything. So you need to protect those digital systems. You need to protect them from attack. So that's the reason we have a stand here at World Skills. It's to talk to young people about what cybersecurity careers can look like. It's preventing attacks in the first place. It's when an attack happens, say like the HSE attack. That's cost 100 million so far, but you have incident responders trying to get the HSE back up and running when a business is attacked. It still needs to function as a business, so you need people to respond to that. And then in the aftermath, there's a long period of checking everything's okay, getting it back up and running. You might be preparing a digital or criminal case, so there's digital forensic skills involved in that. So depending on people's aptitude, there's kind of a place for them everywhere in cybersecurity, which is kind of the nice thing about the field.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that you'll be rolling this out and we will be hearing more and more about cyber skills and
Absolutely.
cybersecurity. Will this be almost like first aid training?
Absolutely, and I suppose it's almost like digital first aid. Like everybody will need the digital skills to recognize what attacks can look like. And I suppose one thing that we would say is you've the networks and the computer side, most attacks happen because somebody was tricked into doing something. So when you think about the information that you put out online about yourself, that information can be used to hack into a company or to hack into your own personal social media to trick you into doing something that, somebody will pretend they're legitimate, they'll pretend they're your friend, you used to have those kind of very common hacker stories from before. They're very sophisticated now, and a lot of people are like, how was I even taken in by this? Because the attacks are just getting so sophisticated. So there's a huge need to be able to keep up with what the attacks are looking like and to have an awareness of that as well.
Okay, so what is on offer here? What are you telling people about when they come to your stall? Is it an apprenticeship? Is it a course? What's the entry point that you're looking for people to access?
Okay, so I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Hopefully you'll all be able to see it. But we are promoting our website, cyberfutures.ie, and we're running a taster course in cybersecurity for transition and fifth year students. So if people are in transition year or fifth year, we run it online so everyone around the country can participate, but we kind of think it's one thing for me to say cybersecurity is a great career and there's lots of skills and talents involved, but it gives people a week-long course online in cybersecurity taught live so that people can try out the different things that are involved, like the ethical hacking, where people are paid to hack into a company's system to see where they're vulnerable and give them a report. It covers cryptography, like how messages are hidden on the internet, so kind of the different skills involved in that. And we also run a capture the flag competition at the end of the week. So the cybersecurity skill competition here at World Skills is a capture the flag competition, and we run a version of that during this Cybersecurity Academy course, just to give young people a taste of what the industry looks like and gives them a chance to try it out and help, I suppose, inform their decision about what they do their apprenticeship or further education and training in.
Okay, well, final question to you. I did receive an email saying that I won the lotto. Now, I'm amazed because I haven't bought a lotto ticket. Do I click the link?
You can safely ignore that email.
Safely ignore, okay. So no lotto victory, but thank you so much, Aoife Long, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
And we will be safe going into our cyber future, all thanks to you.
Thank you so much.
We are in the FET sector, that's the further education and training, and this course here is something that is really interesting, Andy, for anyone who wants to work in the outdoors.
Yeah. Well, basically this is the wind turbine maintenance technician apprenticeship. It's a new apprenticeship of its type, and it's only at this point in time being run in Kerry. It's a 3-year apprenticeship, a new program. It took about 4 years to write it. Basically how it came about was we had a traineeship from 2014 onwards up to about 2018, and that's when when the recession was there. So at that time it was only qualified electricians, mechanics, fitters that were getting into the industry. leaving our students or coming straight from school wouldn't be in the industry, because the industry being what like this, it's then, you know, health and safety orientated. So basically what happened, the industry picked up, everyone back to their own original jobs, and the wind turbine industry was left then with shortage.
Yeah.
So what we did then, we came up with the idea of an apprenticeship, and with that we set up a steering group with all the employers involved, and basically we had a series of meetings and got together with them and asked them what they wanted to do. They told us what they wanted for the industry. We wrote the program around it, and that's where we came up with the 3-year program. Basically, you can apply once you have your leaving cert done, and go straight in. So you know you're coming in at a very early age, and so basically there are areas where we need to hone down, like in health and safety, get people aware of the dangers before we do any maintenance.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
But the main idea is to get these young guys on site in a new industry, which is going to be there for many years. There's a massive future in it. As we all know, we're hearing about the offshore is coming.
Yeah.
We still have the onshore. We will have more offshore, and that's going to open up more and more avenues for younger people to work in the industry.
And I imagine that these windmills, they are wind turbines,
Yes.
I should say, they'll have to be updated and renovated as
Yeah.
well. So is the technology within wind turbines advancing?
Advancing. It is. They're upgrading a lot. But what is actually happening is where for the last few years, we've had wind turbine models that are smaller machines.
Yeah.
What they do now is take down the small machines, or what they will do in the future, take down small machines, more like put up bigger machines, but they will produce the same outage. They will still have the same, you know, how would I say, output as having a couple of small ones. But the big ones, the offshore will be the one next, you know, getting guys onto the training for it and stuff. So we are looking at an add-on for this course for offshore, for the training.
Okay, right.
Which is very good.
Very exciting as well. And speaking with a number of different courses throughout the room as well, the advantage is that, I mean, these jobs, these industries, you can work with them in your own county, in your own community, and I imagine that is the way that wind turbine mechanics will work as well, because they are cropping up throughout the country.
I'd say one of the most important things really in the wind turbine industry is you should travel. You should be willing to travel. But like, as you said, wind turbines are popping up all over the place now. So normally an employer will try and locate you in the area that you're living in so that you can work in that area. Now, it's less expense to him, because now what happens, the employers would have to put you up in hotels and things, and whereas if they can locate you in your own vicinity, your own area, it works out a lot better for them. But there is areas where you may have to travel. The other side of this is, I do have lads in Thailand working at the moment, I have lads in Canada working at the moment, so you can travel the world with it, with all the training.
That's excellent. So, successful few days here?
Oh, very successful, brilliant. We had 3 employers here with us yesterday. They would have liked to have been here, an extra day, but they couldn't because of work, conditions and stuff like that. But we had a brilliant day with the employers, and at least everybody was coming, and we let the employer talk to them and explain their side of it. We can do the training, we can do all this, but it's nice to have your employer there and say, we want you, this guy. And basically and I think an important thing is, and I think an important thing for me this year is, first female apprentice, Mairead. She was here yesterday. She's a brilliant apprentice, and she's going for the Apprentice of the Year award. So I hope she'll win it. You know what I mean? She deserves it. And it's great to have the female side of it as well. Another female this year in the next intake. And a lot of interest from females over the last few days for it.
Brilliant. Well, it's nice to have that gender imbalance becoming more balanced as the years
and
go
actually,
by as well.
if you're in a classroom, they bring a different dynamic to the classroom, which is exceptional. It really is brilliant.
Well, look, all the best with the rest of today, the final day, and hopefully after this year's World Skills Ireland 2023, nobody else will call it a windmill.
No.
Just me. I was the last person. So no more. It is a wind turbine. And we are joined by the chair of World Skills Ireland, that is Mr. Ray English, joining us in studio. Ray, before we talk about the huge success of this week, need to ask you about the big event that's happening next week, so you can tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, of course, really delighted that World Skills Ireland are hosting the General Assembly of World Skills International. This only happens every second year. And due to the COVID break, we were due to host it in 2019, but now we're hosting it in 2023. We've got about 400 international delegates, global partners and alliances of World Skills all coming to Dublin for 5 days to look at the future of skills and actually to map out how that relates to each individual country. But not only that, we're really happy to share the experience of the apprenticeship system and the skills system in Ireland, because over the last number of years we've seen some really radical changes. From 27 to almost 70 apprenticeships in a short number of years. The registrations have hugely increased. We're seeing a rapid increase in the number of female apprentices, but only the range and scale of the offerings is absolutely incredible. You can start an apprenticeship at level 6 on the framework of qualifications, and go right away to level 10, which is a PhD. So incredible turnaround, and we're looking forward to sharing that with all the members next week.
And it's great to have those pathways as well. And you mentioned the future of skills. It's amazing that you would be focusing even more so on the future, because that's all we're hearing about is what each industry is going to be like in the years to come. Even you look at Bus Air and Dublin Bus, their mechanics are now technicians because they have the electric fleets coming in to play, and you can kind of apply that advantage in technology to everybody who has been here over the last number of days. And speaking of everybody who's been here, record-breaking numbers, 30,000 people attending the event this year. You must be blown away by that.
No, we're absolutely. I mean, we basically 50% increase on the numbers last time, which is absolutely amazing. But I think really importantly as well, we're averaging about 52%, 48% male-female participation, and that's really, really good to see. And if that doesn't change people's perceptions, I think nothing else will. It's just an incredible statistic. But I think it's the range of offerings, and really a shout out to all of the sponsors and everybody who turns up and is really trying to make this open to anybody to have a go, to touch on tactile experiences, you know, right across the exhibition. It's just been an incredible couple of days.
Yeah, and you mentioned the gender balance that's coming through the doors, and I suppose the gender imbalance that might be there in some industries. I reckon it'll be a thing of the past in the very near future because of World Skills and this event that we've had here. It really is going to play a part as Ireland goes forward.
I think so, you know, and it really is about us now looking at and taking the feedback from the students and looking at how we can improve this. So really we're looking at offering the range of competitions. So paramedics is going to be a new apprenticeship. You see we've already have a kind of a demonstration that will be a competition. We're adding on additive manufacturing, which again is one of these new areas. But I think also we're looking at embedding technology into the competitions we have. So where we have plumbing and welding, the use of CAD and Fusion 360 products really will accelerate the skills within those areas themselves and really make, you know, Ireland front-facing in the offering that we have and in the skill set that are in our population. Because remember, out of this, we're looking to build a team to go to the World Skills competition in Lyon 24. And we really want to be on top of our game and bring back gold, silver, bronze for Team Ireland.
Well, I believe we were top 10 the last time around, is that right?
Yeah, 2019
that is kind
in
of punching
Kazan.
above our weight, but we're looking to break into the top 3, if not be number 1.
Absolutely, and that's where we want to be.
Yeah.
And really, the feedback, even from industry here today, is that they're all actually, how can we become more involved to ensure that we do get into those top levels? And that's the next conversation, and that's going to happen really quickly.
Yeah, well, speaking of those skills, competitions are still taking place. As you can hear, we caught up with some of those earlier on, and do stay tuned because we will be joined by the CEO and also chair of the board of World Skills in total. So Ray, thank you so much for joining us here in the studio, and thank you for having us the last few days.
No, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for all your time and effort.
Thank you very much. All right, let's see who we caught up with earlier. Ray, lovely to meet you. It is day 3, the final day, meaning that the competition is getting to the 10th part. So you've got 2 competitions happening. What's happening here?
So Cemetery are very proud this year, along with our co-sponsors, to sponsor 2 competitions. first competition over here is our mechanical 3D CAD, and secondary we have our digital infrastructure and design competition going on. So we've quite a busy stand, as you can see. Us as an organisation, I suppose really, the last couple of days have been really busy, but us as an organisation, really what we are, we're really here to kind of develop these skills and really work with apprentices and students that are midstream through their courses or whatever to develop and bring in their skills, really. Third day has been, I'm glad it's the third day.
Yeah.
It's been a busy couple of days, but everything's gone smoothly. Fantastic from the competitors themselves, to our sponsors, to our equipment, but more importantly, the people around have come to make the effort to be at this event as well. It's really made it really worthwhile for us and very enjoyable.
Yeah, and it's an industry, I guess, that a lot of people might not realise is here in Ireland, but Ireland really punches above its weight when you look at the global scale of population, all the rest. So I'm looking at the 3D design here, where they're trying to design a scooter. Is that the project here? And you might talk us through what they're trying to achieve in the competitions.
Yeah, so our mechanical CAD 3D competition is really about design, design with intent. So this year's example was using an electrical scooter, because we really want our sustainability element to be brought into this competition as well. It's really about, you know, your design intent, to expand the students' knowledge and challenge them to kind of look at the design, come up with some ideas, but also not just the design, but design for manufacture and design in a sustainable way. So that's our mechanical 3D CAD kind of side of things. While the digital infrastructure is very interesting, and really what it's all about, it's about infrastructural design, from a road network to drainage, to simulation, to building location. So it's quite expensive. So they've got a quite large remit as well, where day one is road design, day two is drainage design, and day three then is obviously the construction design of that and delivery. So it's quite intense. So both competitions are quite intense throughout the 2 days. So yeah, it's been exciting for them though, but it's received quite well. We have a few tired heads, but it's received quite well.
Do they have to make sure the infrastructure is suitable for a scooter?
Yes.
So there's crossover there.
Yeah, there's a bit of crossover there. Yeah, there's a bit of crossover there. But yeah, it's really like it's taking real world examples. It's setting what industry expectations out there. So these competitions are not just kind of a prototyping competition. It's very much industry being involved, developing these competitions to meet industry demand. We all know that industry is changing. There's disruptive technologies. There's AI. There's, you know, VR, and even down at our partner stand, we have generative design part being printed, 3D printed. So everything is changing, and you know, we need to change with it, and we need to put industry and academia and ourselves together to kind of go on the correct path and, you know, meet and set the standard going forward, really.
And work in symmetry.
We'll work in symmetry. That's the hope. So we've again, and we're very fortunate last year, where our winner in the competition last year, where I was able to offer him an internship within Symmetry. And so he worked with us this summer, Evan. He's probably there in the stand somewhere. And he's actually up here this week with us. But he also got the opportunity to participate at Euroskills. So we were delighted to be part of that. We sent the team over there. It's fantastic. And like we'd like to see as an organisation, we really are about empowering the younger people of today for tomorrow. We challenge people to work smarter. So that's with our ethos within Symmetry, but also outside of that. So, you know, we see this as an avenue to help the younger generation of today for tomorrow.
Ray, thank you very much for joining us today, and we are going to head back to studio because it is time to meet the CEO of World Skills. And you are very welcome back for a very final time here on the final day of World Skills Ireland 2023, and we are joined by two very important people here from World Skills. We have the President and Chair of the Board, Mr. Chris Humphreys, and we have the CEO of World Skills as well, Mr. David Hoey. How are you, gentlemen? Welcome to Ireland.
Fantastic to be here, really great.
I was going to say you're fresh off the boat, but it's fresh off the airplane, right? You've just landed and you are here already. So where did you fly from?
I live in Southampton, so it's just a quick dash across the water for me.
Okay,
very
nice.
Easy.
And you all the way from?
Based in Australia. Our office is in the Netherlands, but I've come in from Lyon because we are currently organising World Skills Lyon 2024.
Yes. And not just an excuse for you to catch a Rugby World Cup game.
Almost an excuse.
A perfect coincidence.
Coincidence. Lovely, beautiful coincidence. Well, gentlemen, it's great to have you here in Dublin in this venue which I have been describing as incredible, because what you have is these stalls, these industries, different businesses, and you have obviously the people who are involved in those businesses, and then you have the students and people who are looking to partake and enter into that world. And for me, I've been blown away these past few days about everything that is happening, and just being reminded about how vital skills are in every single aspect and industry that there is. So, Chris, speak about the importance of skills.
I've been working in WorldSkills now for 23 years. Fell in love with it the moment I discovered it at the turn of the century, and realized that if we don't do more to get this incredible cohort of young people proud of the opportunities for the future and practicing the best skills to the best of their ability, then our economy suffers, as do their lives. This is a perfect solution to industry challenges.
It certainly is. And David, what is it about WorldSkills that appealed to you first when you decided to be a part of it?
For sure. My background's mechanical engineering, and I'd always seen the tradespeople as equal to the professionals, because you each brought something different in the creation of solutions for a better life, etc. And I think the pandemic really brought out that when the world slowed, we didn't need sport, we didn't need a lot of these other things, but skilled people kept the world moving. And when you look at everything we enjoy every day from the moment we wake up, it wouldn't exist without skilled craftspeople creating it, doing it, fixing it, maintaining it, whatever. And I think it's just, again, highlighting in a world where somehow if you go to university, you're different to those who go into the trades. And what we see is that a career in the skills, trades and technologies is a very good first choice career option, and that's what's on show here to every person.
Yeah, and lockdown was a great reminder as well that you really should be calling the professional to help. I had a go at painting and decorating. I will not be having a go at painting and decorating again, especially not after seeing the stall here and the skills that are on display.
And isn't the buzz of the young people amazing? Even though we're sort of drawing to the end of the competition, the noise level and the excitement of those young people as they wander around, often discovering skills and occupations they didn't even know existed. And you can't be what you can't see.
Yes.
When have you ever seen a careers fair like this one, where the buzz is as loud as this? It's a fantastic way of helping young people see what options exist for them for the future.
Well, you say, when have I seen this? It's never been seen before to this extent in Ireland. 30,000 people signing up and coming through the doors over these 3 days. So, as part of WorldSkills, you must be looking at Ireland and saying, okay, right, they're really starting to pick up on this idea. Next year, bigger, better. How are you going to manage that?
Well, definitely, and I think what's happened here in the last few years is Ireland has always been a member of WorldSkills since 1957, so they've understood the importance of that journey for a young person, not just to get over the threshold of qualification for an apprenticeship, but just to see how well they can really do. But what you're seeing here is inside the workshops, the ability to measure excellence, and outside the workshops, the country's biggest careers expo. And what we see around the world is that the biggest influence on a young person's career choice is sadly their parents. Because who's the most ill-informed about what the new careers and skills and technologies and sectors are of the future? For example, if I asked you or the audience listening to this, what is additive manufacturing? I think 99% probably couldn't tell me. But it is one of the most exciting career options in the future to deal with 3D printing of metal and all those sorts of things. So places like this will just open people's eyes. Industry, education, government working together. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and you mentioned there one of the careers of the future, I guess, that we're going to hear a lot more about. But then there are those traditional skills that I mentioned, the painting, decorating, and these traditional skills that are, again, going to be a huge part of the future, because, again, you mentioned about lockdown. When it all came down to it, you needed bricks to be laid, you needed walls to go up and houses to be built, and really does include the skills we've always needed, but indeed the careers and ventures of the future as well.
I organised the international event in London in 2011, and we intentionally set it just before the London Olympics, because we wanted to showcase the skills that actually make the Olympics possible.
Yes.
sports people aren't what you need. What you need are the buildings and the infrastructure and the hospitality and the transport. The whole of that event depended on the skills that World Skills highlights. And it's the same here in Ireland. The fact that so many parents and young people are seeing what a real future can be built on these skills is going to transform public attitudes on a scale. And so I hope you will see it bigger and better next year because your apprenticeship program's growing. There seems to be a genuine excitement and pride in what's being established in this new apprenticeship program, and that's the excitement young people need to see their futures built upon.
Yeah, and it's the appreciation not only from the people who are here over these few days, but also getting that backing and the support from the government, which it seems to be, and it is largely with thanks to these events. World Skills in Ireland for 2023, for 2024. I imagine that again, you're going to look for some more encouragement, not only from the people signing up and coming in to have a look, but also from Ireland as a country.
And I think, as we go around the world, because World Skills has 85 member countries around the world, and we often get asked, what's the best relationship or, the partnerships working together? And what we see is that it's education, industry and government. In each country they'll play a slightly different role, but they're all really important ingredients in that economic development of the country, driven down to obviously individual contribution at the community, company and country level. And so this event will become, I believe, the country's premier skills festival, showcasing of skills, promoting skills of the future, greater industry, education and government, and just keep ratcheting up. So I think it's an absolute winner for the future.
I don't think there's a limit. I think you can keep growing on this because your industry is going to need that supply of skilled and talented young people for a long time to come. And as you say, just repairing and maintaining society takes a huge workforce, but then bringing in the new occupations, the new skills, and the new integrated technologies that are really transforming manufacturing, those are the exciting future that young people can see at an event like this as well. You can't see it in a classroom, you can't see it in a college. You need to see it with industry in place and the excitement of what practicing that skill to the highest standard can bring.
Yeah, well, we've been inundated with the amount of students who've been asking about this course here in Kerry College, and every single stall, every stand, every exhibitor across the few days have been saying how busy it's been and how interested and excited people are as well. So a big thanks to World Skills for keeping Ireland in its plans, and hopefully for many more years to come as well. So to the pair of you, Chris, to David, thank you so much for joining us. I won't allow you to give a prediction about the World Cup, because I don't think I like the answer. But gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for hosting World Skills here as well.
Well, you are very welcome, and thank you to that beautiful venue, the RDS in Simmons Court in Dublin. And a big thanks to the team as well. We have Clint, we have Robbie, we have Ed, we have Cian, we have Theo, we have Darian, and we have Brian as well, and myself, Brendan. So thank you for putting up with me for the last few days. Big thanks again to the crew and to everybody who's been stopping by and having a chat with us. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again next year.